This studio vlog is brought to you by Skillshare. I'll be covering a bit more later on in the vlog about what I've been learning on the platform so far this month, but without further ado, let's jump into the content. Hey everyone, so if you are new here, my name is Sheena and I'm an illustrator and content creator living out my dreams in Brooklyn, New York. So I'm actually starting this vlog showing you all a bit around Brooklyn because this was actually during a time where I did my Beyonce Black is King launch, and Dustin and I had just been packing orders for days and we wanted a break. So we went out, did some stoop shopping, which is basically when people put out their old items and you're able to pick them up, and we just had a really good time just getting some fresh air and exploring. But of course we had to cut that short and go right back to work and try to get your orders out to you on time. So while I've had decent success with my shop, this was definitely the biggest launch I have ever done, and I don't think that I realized how much work was going to go into it when it came to actually fulfilling and packing orders. So when I did this particular launch, I ended up getting close to 170 orders. So you can imagine being a 1 or 2 person team, it literally took us days to get caught up. But I would say for the most part, everyone ended up receiving their orders on time. Now, I did have someone ask in the last vlog if I could show my process for packing prints, and I will be sure to share that in a separate video or in the next vlog. But in this one, we were just trying to get stuff done and we were so behind that I didn't really have time to record, much less slow down and show the entire process. So just be patient with me and I promise I will have that video out soon. All right, so we spent the whole night packing and then I had to get up the next morning and basically get everything shipped out. So that's what you see me doing here. Now, I've talked a little bit about my shipping process, but basically once we get everything packed up in the envelopes, I actually don't use Etsy's dashboard to print my labels. I use a third-party site, which is called stamps.com. And I feel like usually when people share a platform that they use or a tool, everyone has a critique, everyone has a comment, and I always go back to use what works for you. But I'm someone who has done a lot of research. This is not my first rodeo. I've been doing this for at least 2 years, and stamps.com just works for me. I realized there are other free platforms. I've tried them and I don't like them. So I stick to what I know and what keeps me efficient. So I'm just knocking those out right now, basically applying my labels so that I can do a USPS pickup for later on in the day. So now I am switching gears and taking care of some Patreon snail mail. As most of you know, I have a Patreon, and part of one of my tiers is that I send my patrons something through the mail. And that's basically what snail mail means. It's a slower way of communicating, but it's stationary, it's on paper, and it's just kind of old school and gives me like a really good, cozy feeling. I love getting mail from people. So that's all I'm doing now is addressing those envelopes, and I'm gonna go ahead and fill all of them. Honestly, I can't believe that I went from like 1 or 2 envelopes in the very beginning to now close to 27 envelopes. So it does take a bit of time, but I still enjoy doing it. And while I still have the bandwidth, I will continue handwriting and personally packing all of my packages. now we're headed to my favorite place on earth. I'm sure you guys can hear the sarcasm, which is the post office. As most of you know, I do not come here to do my Etsy packaging. I just do USPS pickup because my building allows it. But when it comes to snail mail, I do have to go out and get stamps. And so this is why I come to the post office. And I'll be sure to do a more thorough video in the future about all of my shipping and packing processes, but I get the question a lot about why I don't use stamps on my Etsy orders, and it's simply because stamps cannot be tracked. So if a customer writes in and happens to want to check the status of their order, or maybe you have to do an audit and you use stamps, there is no way to track down orders. So yes, it's cheap. Yes, it seems like the easiest way to do it, but if you're trying to run a professional business, you should not be sending customer packages with stamps. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the vlog. As you can tell, I'm a bit more put together today because I actually have some video content that I need to do, and I was tired of looking like Dobie the elf. So I actually got dressed and put on some makeup, and I have to do number one, an Instagram story feature for a brand. I can't talk about which brand it is right now, but once it comes out, I will let you guys see it. But it's actually a brand that I've used time and time again, and they reached out and asked me to do like an Instagram live takeover / feature. So I wanted to have the best, I guess, presentation of myself to this brand new audience. And then secondly, I'm getting ready to do my sit down Q&A for Patreon. And usually I do like a draw with me or something like that. But seeing that I'm already put together, I figured I would just do a sit down like this. So that's basically what I have planned. I woke up this morning and just packed orders, answered some emails, and once I finish all of this, then I'm going to basically work on some client work that I really have to get done. So that's basically about it. I'm going to hurry up and get to work, and I will try to show you all the process as I do it. So let's go. Okay, so this is voiceover Sheena popping in to let you know that the company I was working with is Paperlike. Many of you know them. They're a screen protector company, and they make amazing screen protectors for the iPad Pro. And if you want to see my interview and feature, it is all on their Instagram page. All right, so I'm going to be using my iPhone on this tripod, which I actually got on Amazon, and this is just to record the Instagram feature video. And I love this mount, obviously, because it lets you put the phone into portrait mode, which is perfect for what I need to do. So I'm basically going to set up right here and go through all the interview questions that the brand has for me. And yeah, I'm going to finish here, and then for the Patreon Q&A, I'm going to use the camera that I have here because it's just better quality. So this is what it's looking like, and I'll be sure to link it if it's still available, but it only cost me about maybe 15 bucks, and it also came with a remote, which is pretty cool. And so I'm just in my living room, and I have this set up on a bar stool, and I am sitting on my computer chair. So super simple setup, and I'm sure this is going to work out just fine. Okay, so I changed my mind. I actually decided to sit in this chair and face the bookshelf because it just kind of looks better. The rest of my apartment is not as aesthetically pleasing right now, especially if I just brought in a whole bunch of packages and it's a mess. But yeah, I want to do this setup. The only problem is that when I sit here, I'm getting a ton of light on my face from this side and no light from this side because I don't have windows over here. So I'm actually going to take one of my white poster boards and set it up in this chair, which should help to basically bounce the light from the window onto my other cheek. So I'm gonna try to show you guys this in real practice, but it may not show. But here I am on camera. Hey, it's me with the white poster board. So if I take this down, you can kind of see there's a shadow that appears. When I put it back up, it kind of brings back that white bright light over to my right side. So again, the camera's here, I'm here, and then here is the white poster board that will help to bounce the light from this direction. So I just wanted to show you all that, a little trick to help to even out if you're doing like a really professional video or YouTube video and you want to look like you know what you're doing. Get yourself a white poster board. It does wonders. Hey vlog, so it is the next day. Yesterday I stopped recording simply because we had a friend who was actually temporarily moving out of town, like one of our really good friends in Brooklyn, and so we just wanted to take some time to catch up with her and say our goodbyes, and we're hoping that she does come back. But the new normal in New York is that everyone is having to move out just because they're not able to go back to work. The cost of living here is very high, and so a lot of people who are not native New Yorkers are just going back home. But no worries, Dustin and I are not going anywhere. Like, this is our home and we plan to stay here for a while. But yeah, today's a new day. I got up this morning and I packed up as many orders as I could. I checked some email, took a shower, took Dakota for a walk, and now I just have to get back to work. And it sucks because it's my best friend's birthday and I should probably be out celebrating with him, but you know, adulting, I have to get this work done, especially my client work, because people are paying to receive their artwork. So that is my focus for today. Beyond that, I've just been having like a lot of flare-ups with my allergies and my asthma, and I'm thinking it has something to do with my AC units in my apartment. So I'm actually going to get my tote and head up to the roof, not only to get some fresh air and get out of the apartment, but just to really get focused and get work done. Sometimes when you're working from home and you have like a comfy couch and a big TV, you can really get distracted. And so I'm going to head up and get some work done, and I'm going to take you with me, and then we'll see what happens later. So let's go. Now, before we jump into this time lapse of my client work, I want to take a quick moment to give a shout out to our video sponsor, Skillshare. If you are newer to this channel, you may not know that I've been partnering with Skillshare over 2 years now because I really do believe in their mission and their platform. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Skillshare, they are basically an online learning community where creative and curious people can come together and take the next step in their creative journey. And one of my favorite parts about Skillshare is that there are thousands of classes. So whether you're someone who is trying to get into photography, maybe you're an illustrator like me, you're trying to hone in on your skills, they literally have something on the platform for everyone. You all know that I am not a trained illustrator. I did not go to school for this. So one of my favorite things about this platform is that I can jump into a new topic and just kind of dabble around and just have fun and do something leisurely. But if I'm really trying to figure out a new skill, such as shading or highlighting, I can pick a particular class and really hone in on that and perfect my skills. You all know one of my favorite classes for learning how to do shading and highlighting and really bringing an illustration to life is by the illustrator Vashti Harrison. When I first joined the platform, she was one of the very first classes that I saw, and I'm telling you, to this day, I probably watched that class at least 5 times, and every time I'm able to pick up something new. And as I've gone further in my illustration career, I'm also leaning on classes like this one by Andy Pizza. He's one of my favorite illustrators, and I also love his podcast. And it's all about finding your unique art style. To really make it in this industry, you have to have something about your art that stands out, that really is on brand for you. And Andy does a great job of breaking this down in a comprehensive way that is truly helpful and inspiring. So if you're looking for inspiration, or maybe you just want to learn more from creative professionals who do this day in and day out, I'm also happy to say that Skillshare is super affordable with an annual subscription that is less than $10 a month. You really cannot beat that when it comes to investing in yourself and being a lifelong learner. And as always, Skillshare is super awesome and they were able to collaborate with me on this video to give you all a special offer. So for a limited time, you can use the link in my description and get a free trial of Skillshare Premium to not only check out the classes that I mentioned in this video, but a plethora of other classes in various topics. And if you guys have any other questions about Skillshare and what's on the platform, be sure to comment below. And then of course, be sure to click that link to join millions of creatives learning on Skillshare today. All right, so before we jump into this more chatty update portion of the video, for any of you that are wondering, this program that I'm using is PROCREATE. I have a 12.9-inch iPad that I've had for about a year now, and these brushes are actually ones that I bought from an illustrator named Dizzy Tara. So if you want to go support her, you can, but if you just want to use the regular PROCREATE brushes, those all work fine too. So this is actually a commission that I'm doing for a customer. She actually saw my thank you cards and she was so in love with them that she asked me to do a more custom version for her, and she's actually going to hang this up in her classroom. So I absolutely love projects like this because they're so personal. Like, she's an art teacher. These are for her students whenever she's on calls with them, and I just find that so amazing. So I'm just here finishing out the outline so I can start doing the coloring phase, and that's basically what I'm working on. So let's jump into the updates and just chat a little bit. So I know I've been gone for some time, and I know being on YouTube, nobody wants to hear excuses about why you haven't uploaded, but I am human. I'm dealing with some health concerns right now. Don't worry, it's not COVID. But I've been dealing with having like an upper respiratory issue, and it's mostly because I think I have an issue with the AC units in my apartment. I've talked to my property management company. They have attempted to swap them out, but the issue is not getting better. And so after a lot of sitting down and talking and crying and going back and forth to the doctor, Dustin and I have decided that maybe this apartment is just not right for us. We've been in here for about 3 years now, and while we love it and we love our neighborhood and we've grown close to so many people who live in the area, we just think it's a good time for us to move on. So I am happy and sad to say that we'll be moving within the next month. So that's why I've kind of been MIA, because the moving process in New York is no joke. You all may have seen videos on YouTube where people are talking about the moving process. They're talking about how stringent everything is. And I'm here to tell you, they are not lying. When you are renting an apartment in New York, it's almost like you're buying a home. You have to provide your net worth, your P&L from your business. So if you're a freelancer, it's even harder because you just have to prove that you're able to carry yourself and afford this apartment. And as most of you know, in New York, you have to make 40 times the rent to even be considered. So while running my shop, simultaneously doing client work and just trying to have a normal life, I've also really been honing in on my taxes, wrapping up all of like my expenses so that I can get that paperwork over to this new property management company. We do have 2 or 3 apartments in mind that we really love, and so I'll be sure to update you all on that. I don't think that I really want to do like an apartment hunting video because I just don't want to deal with the comments from people about how much money I'm spending or why I'm in a certain area. I just feel like that's personal stuff that I don't have to explain to people. And so I may not be sharing that, but I'll be sure to share like an apartment tour or just you guys seeing me move my studio from this apartment to the next one. And it's kind of bittersweet because you all just saw Dustin and I put so much work into this apartment, painting, building these custom floating shelves, building the closet unit for my Etsy shop. So just know that I'm not doing this on a whim. If we're moving, it's because it really is a problem. Our building has just kind of drop the ball when it comes to maintenance and just really doing everything they can do to make their tenants happy and comfortable. And then of course, with my health issues, it's just kind of a no-brainer. So yeah, we're gonna have to break all of that down and move it to the new spot. But I'm also excited for this new change and just to kind of spruce up our apartment in a way that we weren't able to do before because we were always like in limbo. So that's what's happening with all of that. Now onto more updates. I've also been very busy and also closed out client commissions for this month because I just officially signed my first children's book deal. Like, can you all believe it? I'm going to be a children's book illustrator. So this is a reminder that you don't have to be perfect. You can just fake it until you make it. But the biggest thing is keeping your head down, working really hard, and investing in yourself. And eventually people will notice, because I actually did not go out and pitch myself for this book. The author actually came to me. So I'm very blessed in that aspect. So we are full steam ahead. We are working out the characters, the storyline. We had a whole meeting yesterday about the front cover of the book, and I am just so excited. I'm also really scared because I've never done this before, and I'm just worried that I'm not going to be able to execute. But I also know when it comes to things like this, I just have to work hard and believe in myself. We all have to start somewhere, and this is my first book. This is also her first book, so we're pretty understanding, you know, that we're all figuring it out together. And then the final thing is that I have partnered with a brand called Bonfire. They actually are a t-shirt or apparel manufacturing company, and I will be making my very first t-shirt and hoodie with their company. If you all are following me on Patreon, then you have probably already seen the design. You know what it looks like, and I am just so excited. Like, there are just so many things happening right now. Again, it's scary, very, very stressful. And unfortunately, when my schedule gets so packed like this, it can take away my time from YouTube. But I promise that moving forward, I will do my due diligence to try to get a video out every week if I can. But if I do go a bit MIA, you all know by now what is going on. So that's about it for this video. In the next one, I will be sure to include the closet tour before I break everything down for this move. And then I'll also be opening some mail on camera that you all have sent to my PO box, which I am so appreciative of. So definitely stay tuned for that. I promise it is still coming, and so is that Etsy part 2 video. So if you're not subscribed, now would be a good time to do that. So thanks again for your support. I hope you've enjoyed these updates, and I love you guys. I will see you in the next one. Bye.